Zoran Mamdani is a Marxist communist, Democrat running for New York mayor. Elections tomorrow. Go out and vote against him. I don't care who you vote for, vote against him. But is he the future of the Democrat Party? There's a lot of excitement around him. We're going to find out. Welcome to In Exile. Shout out to the happy patriots out there who support this channel. Just watching every video all the way to the end is just a huge support. And I love my fans, I love my viewers, and I respect hearing from you in the comments below. But by the end of this video, you will know everything you need to know about Zoran Mamdani and also how this influences all of America. Is he the next big thing? Watch this. Here's John D. Macari Jr. I called Zoran Mamdani's primary victory when the betting sites and polls had him at just 1%. I'm calling it now. The primary was his ceiling. He's out of gas. The polls and betting sites once again will be proven horribly wrong. Zoran needs a miracle even to finish in second place. I believe this is wishful thinking. I've got bad news. Now, I'm a skeptic. I could be wrong. I'm going to go into how I could be wrong in this video, but I don't understand where he's getting this Zoran doesn't have a chance. From his lips to God's ears. Now, here's the actual Real Clear Politics polling. You guys know how I like Real Clear Politics when it comes to elections. Here's the 2025 New York City mayor race. This is Atlas Intel. This is the big number. This is the most negative against Mamdani. And it says he's got 41%. With Chris Cuomo only getting 34%. And Silwa, he's that Guardian Angels guy with only 24%. This is why people are calling for Silwa to drop out so that the votes would go to Cuomo. So you split. This is a total tactic in voting. Third-party people are losers. That's Silwa. Third-party people are a disaster for voting because they end up getting a worse candidate in first place. All Cuomo and Silwa did was divide the normal people. Bad tactics. Now, it benefited us when Trump benefited because Ted Cruz wouldn't back down in 2016. So it does also have a good story. Here's more. I was looking at New York City mayor polls tonight. This really reminds me of the polls that said Hillary Clinton was going to win in 2016 presidential election, meaning Mamdani is the Hillary Clinton favorite. Please tell me this is the case and that New York City isn't about to elect Zoran Mamdani as its next mayor. I've got bad news for you because if we go back to that Hillary Clinton race, it was only a 3% difference between her and Trump, maybe 5% at the worst. So it's not representative of the huge gap between Mamdani and Cuomo. Let's keep going. Here's Sean Fitzgerald. I went to 2 early voting stations and in my area today, and it was all old people voting. This is pretty much scientific proof that it's all over for Mamdani. Oh, we found scientific proof. The polls are officially wrong. I don't get where that comes from, but I am going to do, it is time for our chapter ad read. Medicare and annual enrollment is right now. And I don't blame you for being confused about how to sign up or even if you're currently on the best plan. I'm just a simple artist and I think it's very confusing. You need help from someone you can trust. And that's why I'm proud to have you call the In Exile show sponsor Chapter at 631-961-8696. Chapter compares thousands of Medicare plans and everyone who has called has told me they either saved them money or increased their coverage or told them that they can hold tight because they already had the best plan and now they know that they're good for next year. This isn't magic. They use a system. Chapter uses a system I trust. That phone number isn't magic. It won't dial itself. Just call 631-961-8696. That phone number is the first pinned comment below, 631-961-8696, and tell them In Exile sent you. Okay, here's some more color on those polls on Mamdani. Final should be mayoral polls for New York City heading into election day. See the picture. below. We'll get to that. It appears that Mamdani has a 14-point lead here. Now, that is a lead that does not go away. There's wrong polls, but not 14% wrong, guys. Although as the average only add up to 95% total, mostly from the heavier Democrat-leaning polls, I'm going to assume that Cuomo could get 4 of the 5 outstanding points. So it will be closer to an 11-point advantage for Mamdani. Even if you take a maximum minimum poll approach, Cuomo's maximum poll is at 34% and Mamdani at 41%, still a 7-point advantage. Throw in 80% of the outstanding 5% to Cuomo, and Mamdani still leads by 4%, unless the final Silwa tally drops closer or below 10%, which is not what he's getting. Mamdani will be the next New York mayor. That's my prediction also. Here's Piers Morgan on what a horror that is for the Democrat Party.
And he's a radical, too. And some of his radical Islamic ties. I mean, y'all experienced that in London as well.
Sure. So look, Obama compared to Mamdani is not radical. Let's be clear. I mean, if you look at Mamdani, the defund the police stuff that he was openly posting, you would have thought that would be a disqualifying thing for a mayor of New York City. You would just think if you call the NYPD a bunch of racists who have to be defunded, in other words, just stopped, you would think that person could never become the mayor. He's trying to pretend that he is, a nice little sheep. He's not. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Mm-hmm. He's a proper socialist who's going to whack people in New York. And the day of reckoning will come when he actually has to pay for all this stuff.
Well, there won't be a day of reckoning because you just lie more if you're a Democrat. This is the most radically Democrat, probably part of the United States to elect him. We nationally are nowhere near that leftist. Even national Democrats nationally are just not that radical. But now we're going to eviscerate Mamdani. I'm going to show you who this guy is and why he's a horror. But by the end, you'll know exactly who he is. This is a great little piece that John Stossel did on Mamdani.
Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City.
Zoran Mamdani will probably be my next mayor. He's popular.
Winning more primary votes than any mayoral candidate in New York City history.
People like him because he's good looking, charismatic.
Chop, chop, chop it up. Chop, 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 chop it up.
The media can't get enough of him.
And joining me now is Zoran Mamdani.
They also like him because he's
a proud democratic socialist.
A democratic socialist like AOC.
I am here loud and proud to rank Zoran Mamdani #1 for mayor of New York City.
They and most of the media have something in common.
Do you like capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism.
I don't usually cover local politics, but I'll make an exception for Mamdani because what he believes is what so many privileged young people believe. And these socialist ideas are just stupid.
That's the bottom line. New Yorkers are stupid. Not all New Yorkers. I've got great New Yorkers in my audience. The In Exile New Yorkers are killer patriots. If you remain a MAGA patriot in New York, you're made of strong stuff. And we want you to hold ground there, guys. Vocally, we march against Mamdani, even if he becomes mayor, and we will be mopping the floor with all the Democrats saying, I told you so, and it's going to get worse. Here's part of his profile I found very interesting. Why is Zoran Mamdani, this is his wife, hiding his Syrian wife? Rama Duwaji, a 28-year-old Syrian illustrator, my art people. This is what I mean by artists are lunatics and no one should listen. No one should listen to artists on the left. I'm the only one on the right, but she's an illustrator and that kind of got me going. She's an illustrator, married Zoran Mamdani this year. The pair started dating when she moved from the Middle East to New York 5 years ago. The bigger question is why Zoran has kept his wife out of the campaign and the spotlight. And if you look at her here, she's some kind of a model. So it's not that she fears the spotlight. She's taking selfies. She's posing for pictures. She's some kind of a model. She's an illustrator. Why are they hiding her? Now, on the Jew vote in New York, because I have little sympathy when the Jews keep putting anti-Semites in office. but this is a great, what is this guy? Is he Hasidic? New mayoral poll, New York City Jewish voters, they are giving Cuomo 60% and Mamdani just 16%, but Silwa just 12%. So I'm not going to blame the Jews if Mamdani is voted on. They have pretty low numbers for him. Now we're going to out Mamdani. This is Mamdani on, it says October 20th, 2023. You know what that means? October 7th, this is 13 days after Palestine slaughtered a bunch of innocent Jews. This is Mamdani on the streets of New York. This is the evil within.
We have teenagers who are sitting with us ready for their first civil disobedience, and we have uncles. No appeal for the teenagers.
Let's hear it for the
The only way we can honor the lives of those who have been taken from us is to resolve the context within which they all live, and that means end the occupation. That means end the blockade and the siege.
End the blockade and the anti-Israel stuff.
That means end the apartheid system of government.
End the apartheid.
Do not bear witness. Do not bear witness. Take action. Take action. Take action. Senator Gilbert.
Senator Gilbert.
Call for.
Call for.
Ceasefire.
Ceasefire.
Now.
Now.
Senator Gilbert.
Senator Gilbert.
You are.
You are
Complicit.
complicit
In the.
in the
Genocide.
genocide.
Senator Gilbert.
Senator Gilbert.
Not in.
No.
That nice guy is all an act. Hi, everybody. This is a lunatic radical, leftist Marxist. This is Stalin walking the streets. Now, Mamdani lied on his application to become a U.S. citizenship. So this is an effort to revoke his citizenship, which I also support. This is Andy Ogles congressman from my fine state of Tennessee on how he lied on his application.
So let's circle back on that for people who don't know the naturalization process. This was a few years ago. You're saying there's a specific federal form, and we know, and Tish James and others are learning, and there's the form, right? Okay, great.
That's right.
You lie in a federal form, you or I, we're probably going to go to prison. Now, we'll see whether Mamdani, but you're saying it's a crime to lie on this form, and on the form, they basically ask you, do you have ties to various folks who might be extremists, might be working against the American Constitution? What's the bottom line there? You believe he lied because he did have ties to terrorists, extremists, and didn't tell the government the truth.
He did have ties to extremist groups and told the government he did not have ties. And his ties even go to European extremist groups.
The evidence that we've uncovered shows that he was an active member of the Democratic Socialists of America, an anti-America organization. Back in 2018, when he filled out these forms, that would have made him ineligible to become a naturalized citizen. And so I would encourage, I sent a letter this week, a follow-up letter to the DOJ to look at his forms to see if there's enough evidence there to revoke his citizenship and send him back to Uganda.
Trump should revoke his citizenship tonight, and then it's illegal for him to run for mayor in New York, and Cuomo would win. I'm for that. That's all right. Here's the Babylon Bee. Mamdani promises rent-free gulags because he's promising all these rent-free, normal Marxist giveaways to New Yorkers. Here's ABC News. Former President Obama called New York City Democrat mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani on Saturday to praise his campaign and offer to be a sounding board in the future. So Barack Obama, who's on the outs, not very popular, getting long in the tooth, has a doorway back in through Mamdani. He could be his Ben Kenobi, Barack Obama could be. Sources confirmed to ABC News. That's how radical he is. Here's another, this is a very rare thing because the Jews in New York are often pretty socialist. They're pretty far left. But this rabbi, a female rabbi, don't get me started. In an unprecedented move, Angela Buchdahl, the rabbi of New York City's largest Reform synagogue, comes out against Zoran Mamdani. Mamdani is echoing age-old anti-Semitism. Let's hear it.
That this is an existential moment for our Jewish community. Some fear that in the most Jewish city in the world, we are becoming strangers once again. I share many of those fears. I fear living in a city and a nation where anti-Zionist rhetoric is normalized and contagious, where Israel is singularly and repeatedly called out and demonized as the worst actor on the world stage, where our children feel ashamed to call themselves Zionists.
True. And this affects us on the right a little bit. You know, that Nick Fuentes kid who said he loves Hitler and he loves Stalin. Okay. I think he's largely a comedian, but still, you just don't say that stuff in public, and that's not funny. And then Tucker Carlson is getting in trouble for platforming him for simply interviewing the kid and wasn't hard enough on him, wasn't as hard on Nick Fuentes as, say, Tucker Carlson was on Ted Cruz for being a dispensationalist and saying, Israel, you know, we got to protect them. So I'm just giving you guys kind of a bigger view. This is the bigger view of where the debate's at between Democrats and Republicans. Here's more on the socialist, hard socialist, I'll say communist. This one is from September 2023. Now, the IDF is the army in Israel, which, by the way, Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania, that Democrat, was a member of that IDF army, and it's why Kamala Harris didn't pick him for vice president. Do you see all this rolling together? But here you're going to see why this Mamdani is dangerous for New York streets and how he's going to demonize even the police department. All conspiracy theorists that are against Israel go nuts. If you're an anti-Semite and you believe the Jews in Israel are the biggest problem in America and all their PACs and all that stuff is a big problem, you believe in black helicopters, this is a much bigger problem. This is serious. And his mainstream tie to AOC and Barack Obama with the Democrat Party. This is serious, not Israel.
We have to make clear that when the boot of the NYPD is on your neck, it's been laced by the IDF.
The boot of the NYPD is on your neck. It's been laced with the IDF. Did you hear that? Now, this is in September. This is just a few weeks before the attack on Israel, that October 7th date. This guy is a radical. What he's saying is nuts. Now, here's James Carville on Mamdani's chances of becoming New York mayor. Now, this was back in the primary.
Let's start. Yes, he said a lot of things, and he did walk back, defund the police.
He walked back, defund the police, but we know what he really thinks, James Carville. Now, Carville, I'm going to end this video. In the next video is going to be where I totally agree with him when he rips on Karine Jean-Pierre. But first, here he is on Mamdani.
Right it there. In terms of his idea of public-owned, city-owned grocery stores. All right. So I go to New York a lot. And y'all, come on, James. You don't really see it because you just go to Soho and up east.
Yeah, he's talking about the bodegas. But Mamdani wants to make them state run. He's going to have Muslims starting these Marxist state-run grocery stores. Here's a great black gentleman from the streets of New York about how he's going to, like all Marxists, he's an environmentalist. I've always said, you know, they always call environmentalists watermelon. Green on the outside is red on the inside. And that's why Mamdani is going after the weight of cars.
Mamdani want to charge you 0 cents for cars that weigh 2,000 pounds or less. But that's where the smokescreen begins. There's really no cars that weigh less than 2,000 pounds, except these.
Look at that.
Transport your family in that?
Can you transport your family in that? That's because leftists are also believe in zero population growth. They believe the world is overcrowding and we're overheating and that human beings are on the blight on the surface. And that's why we need to shrink our families, keep them smaller, and drive little roller skates like that in New York and punish big families in family cars because Marxism despises the American family. It is a great threat to them. Here's more on James Carville. Veteran strategist James Carville warned on Wednesday how Democrat socialist Zoran Mamdani winning the New York City mayoral primary may be a burden for the Democrat Party. I believe he is a burden. We're going to find out which way the parties tilt. And now, just to end on a comedic note, imagine this, guys. This is going to be me agreeing with James Carville. Every single word that he says in this thing, I will agree. You could tell me if you agree also in the chat below. Watch this.
Treated to Karine Jean-Pierre, who was Biden.
Oh, my God. Go ahead.
And so she goes on with this guy, Isaac Totner, who I don't think I know, but it seems to me like it's a, you know,
does some of the great Q&As in American journalism.
Right. And she goes on promoting the book. Okay. Done books. You go, well, they ask you about the book. Okay.
She's upset that they asked her about the book that she wrote. I'm not going to make fun of James Carville's accent because some of you are from Louisiana and you got sensitive about that when I made fun of him. So I didn't mean anything by it. I only make fun of accents. You know, I think he sounds funny. I'm from California, dude.
So the question going to be about, if she started tagging him, that she shouldn't answer that because she's a black lesbian female.
Oh my. Oh my. He is bucking against the diversity, equity, and inclusion in his own party. He's saying Karine Jean-Pierre, all that she ever has is that she's a black lesbian female. We've said that for years. Thank you, James.
Lady, please do your book tour and then shut the up.
Oops.
James, she said that it was that it was outrageous that some people thought that the nomination shouldn't be handed to Kamala Harris. And then she goes on and she really says, of course, I knew she couldn't win. Well, what the hell is the point of a nomination if you can't win? She has every right to publish the book, but I have every right, James, not to read it.
I agree. And one's opinion is not determinative by their gender, their race, their sexual identity, or anything else. You know, some people wrong, some people right.
You're in the wrong party, James, if that's what you believe. You're in the wrong party. Sexual identity, race, ethnicity doesn't tell you anything about them. That's meritocracy. Trump would be called a racist for saying the same thing. James Carville is a Democrat of the past. And if Mamdani wins, your party is cooked. We're going to be doing Republican branding, putting Mamdani's face up all next year to win 2026 and 2028, especially if it's like a Gavin Newsom / AOC ticket. I'm Doug in Exile. Call chapter. It's the first pinned comment. That's how you say thank you.